Hello, Hannah the Suburban Witch here, and today I'm answering your tarot questions. Now, these questions were submitted by you, my followers, on Instagram via my story. So I put out the question, what do you need to know? And we're going to go through that today. So there was actually so many questions that we're going to have to do 2 episodes of this, and I've already done a previous one earlier. So this is episode 2, and then there'll also be an episode 3 as well. Today's questions that we're going to cover are, which way should the cards face? How to do spreads and how to shuffle. How to read the cards all as one rather than one by one, and how to tell if a card is a yes or a no. So stay tuned to find out the answers to all of those. If you're new to my channel, I'm Hannah the Suburban Witch. I'm an intuitive tarot reader and astrologer, and also a witch. I love sharing all of my tips and content with you guys here on YouTube. I release new content every single week on a Wednesday, so keep an eye out and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. I've also got lots of stuff for you over on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, and TikTok, so head on over there to follow me as well. Question number 1, which way should the cards face? Okay, now what this question means is when you're reading for another person, okay? Obviously, when you read for yourself, those cards are going to be facing you, especially if you're going to read with reversals, because you're going to need to know which one's up and which one's down. Now, when you're reading for someone else, and you're going to tire of me saying this, but it's all going to be about what you prefer. There is no right or wrong. I have known tons of tarot readers that do it where they face the client and tons that do it where they face the tarot reader. So personally for me, I do it so that they face me. Why? That's because I'm the reader, I'm reading the cards. Now when I'm doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually turn the cards around and show the client what I'm seeing. And I often ask them as well, is anything popping up for you? Because we all have that psychic intuitive ability, and sometimes coming for a tarot reading starts to unlock some of that, and sometimes they'll see things in the cards that have not come through to me, but it's come through to them. Example, I have one deck, the Shadowscapes deck, and there is a couple of cards with things like turtles in there. And I've had a client before where I've said, this is what I'm getting, this is the things, and she's like, yep, that all makes sense, oh my goodness. And then I said, what do you see in the card? And she looked down, she went, oh my God, it's a turtle. And I was like, yeah, there's not many cards in this deck with turtles, but there you go. And she was like, that's the person we're talking about's nickname. And I was like, that is crazy. So, it's okay to show your clients, it's okay to get them involved if you want to. Some tarot readers don't, they just want to, talk and get it all out and not interfere with that energy coming through. It just depends how you receive information and how it works best for you and your clients, okay? If you're just doing it for friends as well, again, feel free to do whatever. Try it out. Try them all facing you. Try them all facing them and just see which feels best for you, okay? And go with that. It's the same with any form of divination. If it's not feeling right, if it's not resonating, get rid of it. You don't want that energy, all right? Hope that helps. Next question was actually 3 questions that I've put into one. Do spreads matter? Can you make them up? Do they need to be simple or complex? So, do spreads matter? It's up to you. And you're going to get tired of me saying that, but it's up to you. Personally, I love using spreads. For me, it just adds more clarity to my reading and the positions that the cards fall into, and it just leaves less room for questioning yourself and your intuition as well. Can you make them up? Absolutely. That is the best way to do it. I make up all of my own spreads. If you jump onto my Patreon page as well, if you're curious about seeing how you can ask questions and what sort of questions to ask, in every one of my moon ritual worksheets, I have a unique tarot spread that coincides with the energy of that moon. And you can see the sorts of questions that we can ask and the ways that we can ask the tarot. And all of those are straight from me, okay? Working with that astrological energy. So you just make them up. How else do they come into existence? You don't have to follow anyone else's recipe or what you should or shouldn't do, okay? So dig deep. What do you want to know? Figure out the questions that, go into that question, that overarching question, and make it up as you go along. That's fantastic. The next one is simple versus complex. Personally, I'm a simple girl. I don't like to complicate it too much, okay? If I have, a question, so for example, should I do this or this? I'm going to pull 2 cards. I don't need any more information than that. Those 2 cards should be enough to give me what I need, okay? Tarot for me opens up the doorway to my intuition, so I can get a lot from 2 cards. I don't need, a plethora of cards in front of me. In saying that, some people love using things like the Celtic Cross all the time, or really complex spreads where there's, 20 cards on the table. Now, when I'm doing a deep dive reading, so that's a reading that goes for about an hour, sometimes I'll do something, I call it my astrological wheel. So it can be 12 to 24 cards, and it's looking at the whole year or the year coming up as well. So that one's a pretty complex one, and that just works in with my astrological work, so I can recognize which area of life that things are showing up in. And we don't always go through every single card that comes out, because it's a set spread, it's a really big one. Not every area of your life is going to need to dive into, right? So I usually just pick out the big ones and just touch a little bit on the smaller ones as well, if need be. But usually it's the big ones, so we can say, oh, okay, love life, that is something's going on here. But, in terms of your home, that's pretty stable, nothing much is going on. So, that's how we can kind of read it. But it's up to you again. So whether you like it complex or like it simple, that's totally up to you. Personally, I prefer simple spreads. Next question is about shuffling. Again, it was 2 questions: how to shuffle, and do you need to have a question in mind when you are shuffling? So, how to shuffle. I am not the best card slinger out there, okay? I literally just overhand shuffle, just like this. If you're shuffling for reversals, what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick up a little bit at the back, flip it over as you're shuffling, and then keep going. And just do that as many times as you feel the need to, right? So you're just kind of going until you think it's right. And it depends as well. So I love this form of shuffling. Whilst it might not mix all of the cards up, I'm then going to spread them out flat and pick at random, okay? So I know that it is still random, the way that it's coming out, it is still the card that's meant to be, right? So shuffling, just overhand is fine. Some people do a rifle shuffle. So that's the one that you see on the movies, and they put them together and they flip them up and they all go in together perfectly, and it's amazing. Think Casino Royale. But with those, I know you can damage your cards long term if you're not doing it right, especially. So there is another method, which I don't like. It messes with my Virgo brain, which is where people just put them all out on the table and then shuffle them all around and then slam them back together. To me, that is my version of when Skincare by Hiram sees people doing the face trend with the scrubbing face. I just can't stand it. So you can do it like that if you want to, but don't tell me about it, because it's going to ruin your cards in the long term. All right, so that's how to shuffle. Now, do you have to have a question in mind when you're shuffling? Personally, I like to. I feel like tuning in with the person. So if I'm doing a distance reading, especially, I'll usually sit there with my cards, say their name 3 times, take 3 deep breaths, and really tune in with their energy. I imagine that my aura is stretching wider and then enveloping them in this like big auric cuddle. And I can usually feel that shift once I've locked in with their energy. I'm like, okay, sweet, all right. Now, question was, how can I, best heal my, traumatic experience, or how can I, find my spiritual gift, or whatever it is. And we start shuffling, and I'm just saying that question over and over. It's almost like charging your crystals. I say it's like charging my deck with the intent that I'm using it for, okay? And I'll do that for every single client. When I'm in person with somebody, it's a little bit different. I'll still think of the question whilst shuffling and whilst talking to them, but I'm also, as they're telling me what they want to know, I'm taking all of that information on, formulating the way I want it to come out, the spread or the question, going, okay, yep, you're telling me about this. Oh, okay, I can see that part being a problem. I'm going to pull a card on that, and I might put a card down. Oh, okay, yep, put a card down. So it just depends if I'm in person or online. And again, it's going to depend up to you what you feel most comfortable doing. And when you're picking the cards as well. So as I said, I like to often spread them out and pick at random. But sometimes, like just then, I might be shuffling, just pick the top card as it feels right and keep shuffling, pick the top card and put them down. You can also split the deck into 2 or 3 and just pick the top cards from those as well. I'm also not opposed to my clients touching my cards and picking cards themselves as well. So I usually don't let them shuffle them, but I do let them pick the cards themselves. So hopefully that helps you as well. How to know if your cards are saying yes or no. Okay, so if you're asking just a standard yes or no question, simplest way to do this, jump onto Google and you'll find a little list that says, this card says yes, this card means no, blah, blah, blah. Then what you're going to do is you ask your questions, write down your answer with your date and time, and then you can look back on it and check your accuracy. So if that's working for you, if the predetermined card meanings are working for you from other people, then definitely go ahead with that. Now I'm going to flip some cards and I'm going to show you some that may come up as yes and may come up as no. So I'm just going to shuffle the cards for you now and we'll just pick at random. This deck has been shuffled for reversals, but with a yes or no, you don't really want to read with reversals. So just pretend they're all upright, otherwise it will just confuse you too much. And it's okay if they come out reversed to turn them around. That's no problem at all. So let me just move this away, pull these a little closer. Now, over here. Straight away, that is a no. That is the 8 of Swords, definite no. Next one, 10 of Wands, another no. We can see these are not super positive cards, right? They are not good. Strength, that's a yes, absolutely, definite yes. And the 8 of Wands, another no. So hopefully that shows you a little clearer. And then I'm also going to flip some cards and show you a little spread that I borrowed from Teresa Reed, the Tarot Lady. She mentions this in one of her, I think it's the episode on Tarot Bites, the podcast, the episode about aces, because she has a really cool spread with using the aces for a yes or no and to get an overall percentage as well. So we're going to walk through that together. Now we're going to do the aces spread. So I'm going to make 4 piles and I'm counting out to 13 or an ace, whichever one comes up first. Now what you're wanting with this, if all 4 piles are upright aces, that's a yes. If you have an ace in each pile and one of them is upside down, that's kind of like mostly yes, there might be a delay. If you have 2 upright and 2 reversed aces, that would be a 50-50. So you're just basically looking at, the upright aces are going to be yes. The more of those you have, the higher percentage of it being a yes. The less of them you have, or the more upside down ones or reversed ones, the lower the percentage. So what we see here, so far we've got 2 aces and almost finished. No, 2 aces, okay? So already, if these 2 are upright, this is 50-50. Maybe yes, maybe no. But if we flip them over, if they came out reversed, this is an absolute no. This is not happening. The last question for today is tips on reading the cards all together rather than one by one. Now, the best way to do this is by telling a story, okay? Weaving them all together. And you just sort of need to put your creative thinking hat on. So go back to school when we had all the little hats and you'd say, okay, today we're putting on our creative hat, our yellow hat today. That's what we're going to do. And so I'm just going to show you a little example of ways you can make it into a story, and then your client or your friends or whoever you're reading for, or even yourself, can relate into that story just the same way we do when we read a book and we start relating to characters, okay? It's going to go, oh, I've done that, I've had that in my life, or that resonates with me because that's a similar situation. So let's look at that way. So I'm just shuffling these cards again, and we're just going to pick a few at random, and I'm just going to weave them into a little story just to give you an example. That's nice, starting with the 2 of Cups. This makes me think of 2 lovers coming together, right? This is a real lovey card. Okay, and then we've got 2 queens, Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Swords. And if I'm reading them for me, right, those queens are upside down, and then the 2 of Cups is upright. And then we have an upright 6 of Pentacles and the High Priestess as well. So let's look at these together. I'll let you see them here. So how I see this straight away, if we're putting it as story together, is this 2 of Cups, okay? We have these 2 lovers coming together, and we can see one's in blue, one's in yellow. They're meeting together. It's kind of like this ordained meeting on equal ground, right? But uh-oh, here comes the reversed Queen of Pentacles, and she, color-wise and symbol-wise, looks really similar to this guy. So maybe this is his mother, okay, person in his life. She does not approve. She does not approve of this match. Queen of Swords, she's also reversed, and she kind of looks colors-wise like this girl. All right, we have 2 queens here, 2 mothers that are not happy with this match. High Priestess, this is like destiny coming in, right? Saying, okay, we'll fix this. We'll make something happen. So we're going to strip these 2 kids of their titles, bring them down, and make them back to equals, away from their families. So you can see there the yellow and the blue again replicated throughout these cards. So that's the way I'd weave that into a little story. That's all we're going through today. We have plenty more questions to get to in the next episode. And if I haven't answered one of yours, definitely jump on to Instagram or here on YouTube, send me a DM and let me know what they are. I'll add them to my list. Again, if you have any content suggestions, you can send it through to me and I'll add that to my content suggestions list as well. Always open to hear what you guys are interested in and what you want to see. That's all for me today. So I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.